What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. I want to do this video today. I talked about this person years ago, but I want to let you guys know June. They say everybody, if they look back over their life, there's a 30-day window. Some it's a little bit bigger, but not much bigger. But there's like a 30-day window where when they look back on their life, things happen in that time. And it could be a certain month or overlapping months, right? For me, a lot of really big things happen in June. A little bit of May, but mainly June. I was arrested June 29th, 1993 for taking a man's life. The incident had occurred on June 27th. My mom took her life. I found out about that on June 14th. My road dog died June 12th. So there's a lot of heavy memories and experiences that occurred for me in June. And I was thinking about that this weekend, and I knew I was going to do this video. So when I was in New Folsom the second time, there was a homie, and I'm going to say his name. His name, they called him Tffy from Eastside Longo, right? Good dude, man. He was a youngster. He was quiet. This was his first yard. First prison he hit, right? And he used to get visits all the time, right? And he would come back from visit and he would bring me like a soda from visit, or he'd bring me like a candy bar from visit. And I remember other homies were like, that fool's tripping, eh? Bringing all that shit back. Like, why does he do that, Holmes? And I figured out what he was doing immediately. I was the dope man on the yard. He was trying to show me, hey, I can bring anything back. And at one point, he asked me if we could sell up because I had one of my cellies had left. I said, yeah. So I bring him in the cell with me. I could tell he wanted me to lace him up, right? And I went to a visit one day. And when I went out to visit, I made a point to see who's visiting Tffy. It was his wife, and I believe they had 2 kids. May have been more, but I remember they had at least 2 kids, I believe. And the way he was interacting with his wife and his kids, I wasn't going to lace him up. We went back to the cell, and I knew if I lace this dude up, if I get him to look at the prison experience the way I looked at it at that time, he was going to have to cut his wife loose, let his kids go. Because you can't focus on anything outside of the wall that can touch your heart, because it can make you hesitate behind the walls. See, I had already cut everyone loose in my life. I wasn't interested in riding women. I wasn't interested in anything that was going on outside the walls. I didn't use drugs. I made sure everything I did, I was clear-headed and I was focused on the big picture. And like I said, if I was to start lacing Tffy up, he was going to lose his family. I knew he was going to lose them regardless at some point. But this was going to make it happen a whole lot quicker, a whole lot faster. Something came up where I needed to move somebody else in the cell with me. So I moved him to the next section with another homie. And Tffy was a good dude, man, a good youngster. And he wanted to participate. He wanted to get involved. There were times later where I wished I would have laced him up. The only thing I really did for him is I told him, that family you have, if you want to keep them for as long as you can, do a pegada, do a hit sooner in your career, at the beginning, because the women will stick around a little bit. If you've already been down 5, 6, 7 years, you go to the shoe, you're not going to be able to make phone calls. Letters take forever. It can tend to put a strain on a relationship that a lot can't sustain. Not after being down, sticking around for you, and the realization starts setting in. He's never getting out. He's never coming home. And so he actually got at me and was like, hey, the next thing you guys got, I want to do it. I said, okay. We had something happening. I actually just talked about it the other day. It was when that dude P was telling me he had been in Mule Creek that too long. Well, that he had been in Mule Creek. That was Cinco de Mayo. And 2 dudes got hit that day. Tffy, he hit a dude from my area for me. Well, for the mesa, not for me, for the mesa, right? Went back to the hole. I wound up in the hole later. Didn't really get to talk to him anymore. He was in a different, he was like, I was in D pod. He was in like B, I think. But I had no doubt Tffy was a good dude. He had his priorities right as far as prison world. Years later, I run into one of his homeboys, and he was like, "Oh, you were in C facility back then." And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You probably know my homeboy." I said, "Who?" He said, "Tffy." I said, "Oh, that was my Sally. That's a cool ass vato. Where's he at?" And his homeboy says he's dead. He's younger than me. I said, "He's dead?" I said, "What happened?" He said he took himself out. And I remember thinking, damn. I wonder if it was because of his family. I wonder if his wife left him and reality set in. That's one thing that I don't see talked about a lot. There's a lot of prison content creators. There's not a lot of them that had life. And the few that are on here that had life out here in California, I've never really heard them discuss this. And I'm going to encourage them to do it. But at some point, reality sets in and it really hits you. I'm going to die in this bitch. I remember when I got arrested, I knew I was never going to see the streets again. I was going to die in prison. It was what it was, right? Let me tell you guys. It was on my my 3rd trip to the shoe. Me and my Sally had just got our dinner trays. We sat down in Pelican Bay shoe. When you had a Sally, you both sit on the bottom bunk. And it's a concrete, everything's concrete in there. And I remember we're eating, and it hit me. I'm going to die here. Never getting out. Like, I knew when I got arrested, but the reality on my 3rd shoe term, I'm dying in this bitch. This is it. That's all it is. And up until that day, I really thought I understood, but when it hit me, it really hit me like, damn. And I remember something that tripped me out. I was on an escort, a medical escort, more than likely, medical or dental, and I was on my way back. And there was a wood up ahead of me. And in the shoe, they escort you to 2-man escort, 2 COs escort every one, right? Every one in convict. And as we're walking, the wood is probably about 20 feet ahead of me. And he's kind of acting, I mean, it was probably his first time in the Bay, and he was kind of acting like goofing off as he was being escorted. I had a female SEAL on my left, a male SEAL on my right. And I'm walking and I'm watching what's going on in front of me. There's no conversation. There's no need for conversation with the two cops escorting me, right? And the female SEAL tells the male SEAL that's escorting me, wait till it hits him. And it blew my mind. I said, how does she know? But it's a real thing. At some point, along that stretch of time you do, them decades, it always hits everybody. I'm never getting out. And some people, when it hits them, they can't handle it. Maybe that's why she knew. Anyways, that's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.